What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video of Barbecue with Barry, and today we are doing some smoked barbecue birria tacos. So I just picked up 3 pounds of boneless chuck roast. For this recipe, I'm using 3 pounds of meat. You can use, I've seen people use 2 pounds of chuck roast and 1 pound of short ribs. People use oxtails, all sorts of things to get kind of a little bit of different flavor profiles and that sort of thing. But I just wanted to keep it simple. Got me a 3-pound chuck roast, and that's what we're going to do. I'm actually going to smoke this first. A lot of people will put it in a pan, sear the outside, get a nice crust, and then braise it. I want to smoke it to add a little bit of a smoky flavor to it. So we're going to go ahead, open this up, cube it up, and then we're going to throw it on the smoker, let it get some smoke, let some of the seasoning adhere to the outside, and then we're going to take it off and braise it. So let's go ahead, get our chuck roast open, and then we're going to start cubing this up and then getting some seasoning on it. Now, all this extra fat that's in here, that's great to just keep in there to add to the consomme that we'll make later once these pieces of beef got some smoke flavor on the outside and we start braising them. That fat's going to add a lot of flavor in there. All right, now that we got these all cubed up, let's go ahead and season them up. I'm just using Meat Church Blanco. I like this for kind of like if I need salt, pepper, garlic base rub. This one of my favorites to use. And with this recipe, you don't need to smoke the meat. You don't need to have a grill. You can do this in a crock pot, on the stove. Really a lot of options out there when you're doing this recipe. Go ahead and just pat that in. Pick up any of this seasoning that's still on the board. Now we'll go ahead, get these on a sheet pan, throw them in the fridge to let that seasoning adhere, and we'll get the pit fired up. All right, so now that we got our meat seasoned up, it's in the fridge, letting that seasoning adhere. The pit's fired up to 225 degrees. Let's go ahead and start on our consomme sauce. So we have 7 Guajillo chilies, 7 Arbol chilies, or Ancho chilies, and 4 Arbol chilies. What we want to first do is cut off these stems and remove any seeds out of here, any veins, that sort of thing. Get these opened up, cleaned out, and then we're going to throw them in a pot to kind of wake up those flavors. So we'll start with these Ancho chilies. All right, now that we got our 7 Guajillo chilies, our 4 Arbol chilies, and our 7 Ancho chilies all destemmed and got rid of all the seeds, we're going to go ahead, throw these in a pot, just a dry pot, just to kind of heat up the spices and everything that's in here. We're going to take them off, and then we'll start on the rest of this stuff. Once these start to come fragrant, after a couple minutes, we can go ahead and take these off and put these to the side for now. All right, now we're going to go ahead and slice up half an onion. All right, now that we got half our onion chopped up, we're going to go ahead and go back into that pot that we just kind of toasted the chilies in, just to get some color on these onions. All right, while those onions are going, let's go ahead and get out 6 cloves of garlic. Now that we got our 6 cloves of garlic, let's go ahead and chop these up. Now into the pot we go with our onions. Give that a little stir. All right, now we're going to go ahead and quarter up some Roma tomatoes. And into the pot we go with these now. All right, while we let these cook down and get these tomatoes softened up, let's go ahead and throw our beef on the smoker. All right, now that those tomatoes are nice and softened up, let's go ahead, get them in a blender and blend them up. All right, now that we got all of our tomatoes, onions, and garlic blended up, we're going to go ahead and go in with 1 cup of beef broth into our pot. And then we're going to go ahead and throw our chilies in here and let these kind of steam and soften, and then we'll add these into the blender. All right, now that our chilies are nice and softened up, let's go ahead and add these to the blender. That smells amazing. All right, now back into the pot we go with the rest of our beef stock. All right, now we're going to go in with a couple bay leaves, 1 tablespoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of coriander, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano or Mexican oregano if you have it, 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, and then a stick of cinnamon. Now we'll go ahead and give this a little stir, mix all that in there. And then once our meat has a nice smoke on it, we're going to go ahead, bring this up to a simmer, and add our beef into here. All right, our beef's been on here at 225 degrees for right around 2.5 hours. Let's go ahead, take a peek, and see where we're at. Get some great color on these. Looking really good so far. They're temping at 156, 154, 156. So looking really good. Go ahead, close this down, and let these go for another hour. All right, so we're right at the 3-hour mark. Let's go ahead and take a look. 165, 170, 165. Got some really good color on there. Fat starting to render, so let's go ahead and take these off. All right, so we just took our chunks of chuck roast off the smoker. They were smoking at 225 degrees for right around 3 hours. They got some great color on them, great bark. The fat's starting to render on these nicely. Let's go ahead, before we throw them into our consomme, to kind of braise them for the remainder of the cook. I just want to cut into one and see what kind of smoke we got on these. Really, really nice smoke ring on there. That's definitely going to enhance the flavor of these birria tacos. So let's go ahead. I'm going to leave the remainder of this cubed up. We're going to throw it in our consomme that I just brought up to a simmer. Now you want to make sure all your beef is completely covered. If you need to, you can go ahead and add a little bit of water into here, but looks like we're right where we need to be. Go ahead, cover that up. Let that just braise in there for a couple hours until it's pull apart tender. So our beef has been braising in the pot on just a low simmer for right around 3 hours now. It's looking super tender. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is chop up some cilantro and some onion so that we can garnish our tacos with this and put some into the consomme. All right, our beef is looking great. I like it to where I can pick it up, but as soon as I pick it up, it starts to fall apart. Beautiful. You can still see the smoke ring in there. Let's go ahead, take a piece of this out, shred it up, and then we're gonna go ahead and start cooking our tortilla. And you can see just how easily that shreds. All right, now what we're gonna do is that fat that's on top of there. We got our corn tortilla. We're gonna go ahead and dip that in there. Let any excess drain off. Then we'll go right into this pan. Go ahead, add our beef on one side. Some shredded cheese. That cheese all nice and melted. We can go ahead and get a little bit of this sauce to dip it in. All right, let's dig in and see how we did. Wow. That is amazing. Some of the best tacos that I've ever made or had. The smoking the meat before truly really adds a different element into this rather than just, searing it in a pan and then braising it. You can definitely taste that smokiness coming through, adds another element, the heat from those chilies. Overall, really, really happy with how these came out today. Have to go in for another bite. That beef is so tender, just pulls apart. That sauce. If you don't like spicy, I might say to use 3 of those small chilies. I'll put the name down here. I can't remember the name of them. But 3 of those instead of 4 because this does have a little bit of kick to it. I like a little kick, so I'm happy with how this came out. I mean, you can't beat that right there. For a chuck roast, cut it up into slices, smoke it, make your consomme sauce, braise it in there. I mean, that is a really, really good eating taco. Thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.